What celebrities have you encountered that were either really nice or really horrible? I once served Flava Flav. He made a huge deal about having to sit somewhere private because he didn't want any attention. When it came to pay his bill, he handed me a prepaid Visa that did not have enough money on it. I met Miss Dolly Parton when I was just a wee kid in Illinois. I've described it as being like meeting the sun. She was just so happy and warm and wonderful, and she was the first person I met in real life with a southern accent. I met a few celebs working as an event photographer for fundraisers from time to time. Chevy Chase, well, the stories are true. He was a huge jerk. Jamie Lee Curtis was one of the sweetest people I've ever met, bar none, and easily the nicest celeb I met working the camera. Very considerate and thoughtful person. She kept checking with us to see if she could do anything for us or if we needed any more shots she could help with. Great sense of humor too. I served Daniel Radcliffe his dessert at an event, and tripped and spilled some of it on him, probably due to seeing that I was serving Daniel Radcliffe, and he stood up and started apologizing profusely to me. Was very sweet and asking if I was okay. Met Dave Chappelle a few years back. Long story short, a friend of a friend got me and two friends into an after party. We were sitting at the bar when his manager offered us some shots. We talked with his manager for a while. Then Dave sat down near us. Dave was kind of sitting by himself and he looks over at us and goes, "What's going on, fellas?" And we talked to him for about an hour. We thanked him for coming to our town, talked about music, sports, all kinds of stuff. Super cool dude. One of my favorite memories. My husband and I were wandering around Philly a few years ago and Don Cheadle was walking toward us. We both stopped and turned as we watched him go by. After he passed us, he turned around with a big smile and waved/winked. I just thought that was pretty cool. My mom and sister met The Rock when he was still a wrestler. They had a couple car seats and tons of bags, having a hell of a time getting off the plane, and people were waiting, and then this massive guy offered to carry some things for them and they happily took the help. He grabbed some bags and held the baby carrier with my niece in it and helped them off the plane and left. After, people kept going up to them asking how they knew The Rock, and they were very confused until someone explained who he was. Went with my parents to a function for some charity group and we shared a table with Ice-T. Super nice guy, down to earth and not high on himself. He has a mouth on him, but when he found out my dad is a retired preacher, never heard a bad word again the rest of the night. I ended up talking music and how he goes from rap to metal. Man is cool and knows his sh/*T about the metal and punk scene. Bumped into Gordon Ramsay in the lift in a hotel in Hong Kong. He was very friendly. We didn't talk to him or ask for a picture. I just blurted out, "You're Gordon Ramsay," and he acknowledged and smiled. He insisted on us going first because we had our suitcases with us, wished us a nice day, said bye several times when we saw him in the lobby again. Very friendly. I met Kiefer Sutherland after one of his gigs and he was the most humble celeb I've ever met, so genuine and nice. He took pictures with everyone and signed everything. There was about 15 people. He even had a chat with us all and thanked us for waiting for him while he was doing a radio interview. My mom spotted Robin Williams once and she went up to him and asked if she could get a quick photo. She didn't realize he was there in the middle or about to do something with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, so she waited until they were done around 20 to 30 minutes later, and then a bunch of the kids and people wanted photos with him. He made it a point to stick around and told his staff I think that woman wanted a photo and made sure she got it. Mom was thrilled. He was such a humble, nice dude. I met Buzz Aldrin and have a good story. I met him in 2009 and 2013. At the 2013 meeting, I said I met you before in 2009 and he said, "What took you so long to come back?" I met Paul Rudd on a flight from NY, sat next to him on the plane. My buddy leaned over and told me that he wanted to compliment him on this band shirt he wore when making Clueless, but he didn't want it to be weird. So his solution was to write him a note and slip it to him, LOL. So he does this, and Paul just gets this nervous look on his face, opens the note and reads it. Starts cracking up laughing, leaned over to us and said, "Best note ever." He then told us the whole story of the shirt, how he fought with the costume department about it because it was the shirt he wore to set that day. We talked the whole flight. Dude was super cool. Edit, band is Trip Shakespeare. My only experience with Guy Fieri thus far was cordial. did a guest presentation for us and took plenty of photos. But every time there's a wildfire or other depressing thing going on around here, he has his second responder crew ready to feed and care for all the first responders. Nearly 20 years ago, I literally bumped into Mick Foley at Six Flags in MJ. I was walking backwards down the exit ramp from a ride, while talking to some friends, and he was being escorted up the exit ramp with his kids, to skip the line. My dumbass never saw him coming, and I backed right up into him. Dude was super cool about. He just caught me, gave me a pat on the back when I apologized and said no problem dude, have a nice day, and then I realized who it was as he was walking away. My jaw dropped and one of my buddies just looked at me and said, did mankind just tell you to have a nice day? My grandma sat next to Rob Van Winkle, Vanilla Ice, on a plane before he was famous for Ice Ice Baby. She knew who he was but didn't want him to know. They had a lovely 4-hour conversation and she said he was really intelligent and nice. Tom Hiddleston told me my dog was awesome. So that was the highlight of my life LOL. Samuel L. Jackson at the Calgary Stampede in Canada. He was super nice. My family went up for it because my uncle is part of the committee that organizes the Stampede every year and he got us VIP seating. I was a kid at the time and I was like, does your wallet really say Obanff? He laughed and said he left that one at home. Of course when I told the story at school I told everyone his wallet did in fact say that. David Bowie was extremely nice. I worked on his production of Lazarus in NYC before he passed and was no older than 20 at the time, considerably younger than most on the crew. He took time out of talking to the director to turn to me and tell me that I was doing a phenomenal job on the production. Meant the world to me that he would do that for the shy, unsure 20-year-old, totally made my life. I met Chris Hemsworth at a convention in Australia. Our only interaction was him apologizing to me for a mother's rudeness as she shoved me out of the way because her child meeting Chris was more important. Snoop Dogg, totally, unflappably chill, 100% of the time. It's like a superpower. John Bon Jovi, smoked a cigarette with him, couldn't have been more down to earth. I believe he's making barbecue sandwiches for homeless people as we speak. Otto. Jeremy Piven, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, must have been method acting for the Ari Gold role. Met Matthew Lillard, his wife, and newborn daughter like literally after the release of the first Scooby-Doo movie. My family always host 4th of July parties in our beach house, and he party crashed. I was like 7 or 8 at the time and my cousins were freaking out saying Shaggy is here. Of course I immediately sprinted over and he was eating a hot dog, super cliche I know since it's the 4th of July LOL. He was so cool. The whole time he was in character and offering me to have him go get a hot dog for me. I remember my little cousins asking where Scooby was at and he replied, oh Scoobs ate so many hot dogs that he's like, having a food coma. Seriously, one of most highlighted memory dating back to my youth. Ran into Steve Carell in an Orange County bathroom a couple years ago. I made a bad office joke. He laughed. Nice guy. Edit, since people are asking. Steve Carell. How the turntables have. Wait.